Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Kanta Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutar Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutar Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutar Shishmar. Sorry, let me start over. Srila Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Maha-bhagavat Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Anuvarya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shard Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradakta Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, Raseshwari Mataji and Ganga Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All right, I'm sharing my screen and we will begin the Mangalachara. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Sai Ajanulambita Bujao Kanakavadato Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Namastrikala Satyaya Jagannatha Sutaya Cha Sabhrityaya Saputraya Sakalatraya Te Namaha. Jai 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 Vishwambara Dijaraj Jai Vishwambara Priya Vaishnava Samaj Gaura Chandra Jai Dharma Setu Mahadhir Jai Sankirtana Moy Sundar Sharir Jai Nityanandir Bandhava Dhana Pran Jai Gadadhar Advaiter Prema Dham Jai Shri Jagarananda Priya Atishay Jai Vakreshwar Kashishwarer Hriday Jai Jai Shri Vasadi Priya Varganath Jiva Pratikoro Prabhu Shubha Drishtipat Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Jeno Amriter Khanda Je katha shunile ghuche antar pashanda. Madhya-khaṇḍa katha bhai shuno ekachitte. Sankirtana aramba hoilo jeno mate. Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina. Iti vigyaya devi tvam nayamam charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay kshiptashtakamadittaranga madhe kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur. Ore Murlok Shuno Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Veshakal, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Vyas Vrindavana Das, Vrindavana Das Koilo Chaitanya Mangal, Jahara Shravane Nashi Sarvaya Mangal, Chaitanya Nitar Jate Jani Mahima, Jate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima, Bhagavate Jata Bhakti Siddhanter Sar, Likhiya Chen Iha Jani Koriya Udhar, Chaitanya Mangala Shune Jadi Pashandi Javan, Sheho Maha Vaishnava Hoy Tatakon, Manushe Rachite Nare Aiche Granta Dhanya, Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Bhakta Shri Chaitanya, Vrindavana Dasa Pore Koti Namaskar, Aiche Granta Korite Ho Tarila Sansar, Narayani Chaitanya Uchishta Bhajan, Tar Garbe Janmila Shri Dasa Vrindavan, Tar Ki Arbhuta Chaitanya Charita Varnan, जहाँ रसवने शुद्ध कोइल त्रिभुवन सहजे विचित्र मधुर चैतन्य विहार वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृतेर धार. By nature, all the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet. And when they are described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Shri Caitanya-bhāgavata ki jai. Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai. Swaparshad Shri Gaur Hari ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. And now we are continuing on with our reading of chapter 17, Madhya-khaṇḍa chapter 17 of Caitanya-bhāgavata. The Lord's wandering through Navadvīpa and descriptions of the devotees' glories. Okay. Dandavat pranams Nari Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarani Mataji, and also Shachi Prabhu and Janardhan Prabhu. Dandavat pranams. And of course, Sri Mataji, Ganga Mataji, I already said. Okay. Hari Bol, everybody. All right, so I'm going to read the chapter summary by Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. And I think I'm just going to read all the translations as well, because we don't have that much left in the chapter, only like 3,000 words. So just to fill in the time, and then we could get a better overview of everything. Okay, so this chapter describes the wandering of Mahaprabhu throughout the city of Navadvīpa, the various statements of the atheists against Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu's reply, the Lord's inauguration of Sankirtan to mitigate the miseries he felt due to conversing with the atheists, and the absence of the Lord's ecstasy during the performance of Kirtan and his inquiry about the cause, and the statement of Srimad Advaita Acharya and his dancing, the Lord's exhibition of loving anger towards Advaita due to the absence of ecstasy in kirtan, then the Lord's jumping into the waters of the Ganga, the act of lifting the Lord out of the Ganga by Nityananda and Haridas, the Lord's order to Nityananda and Haridas to keep him concealed, the Lord's arrival at the house of Nandanacharya, Nandanacharya's service to the Lord, Mahaprabhu's secret stay at the house of Nandan, Advaita's distress and fasting due to not seeing the Lord, Mahaprabhu's invitation to Srivas through Nandanacharya, and his inquiry about Advaita from Srivas, then the Lord's arrival at the place of Advaita, the Lord's words of solace to Advaita, Advaita's prayer for the service of Gaura, and the glories of Krishna's service. Wow, we're getting three kind of we're gonna hear this Leela three times. One time very briefly, one time a little bit more depth, and then we're gonna just read through it all today. I think it's good though, getting three. So okay, here's the summary in more depth. When Mahaprabhu wandered throughout Navadvīpa, everyone saw him as Cupid personified. The ordinary people saw him as full of pride, and after seeing his strength of learning, the atheists were frightened. Although the Bhattacharyas proudly declared themselves as teachers for awarding knowledge, Mahaprabhu did not consider them equal to a straw in the street. When Śrī Gaurasundar wandered about in the city of Navadvīpa with his devotees, he kept his identity covered. Being defeated by the keen intelligence of the Lord, the atheists secretly began to conspire against him. They complained to the local administration against Mahaprabhu. During the course of Mahaprabhu's traveling throughout the city, the atheists indirectly informed the Lord about the arrival of the local administrator. Mahaprabhu replied to them that he had studied all the scriptures at an early age, but no one challenged him because he was only a boy. Therefore, he also has a desire to meet the royal administrator in order to proclaim his self-prestige. After returning home, Mahaprabhu expressed to the devotees his unhappiness due to conversing with the atheists. In order to remove that unhappiness, the Lord began to dance and chant with his devotees. When, in the course of kirtan, the Lord repeatedly declared that he was not feeling any ecstasy, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, who was intoxicated by love for Śrī Caitanya, informs the Lord that since he had appointed Nityananda as a storekeeper of ecstatic love, and since he had distributed love of God to even gardeners while deceiving Advaita and Srivas, Advaita Prabhu has absorbed all his love. Advaita Prabhu, he said, I have absorbed all of your love, Mahaprabhu. Being maddened with the love of God, Advaita Acharya spoke in this way, and then he began to dance joyfully. After hearing the words of Advaita, Gaurasundar declared that it is useless to maintain a body that is devoid of love of God. Thus, with a desire to give up his body, he jumped into the Ganga. Nityananda and Haridas, however, pulled the Lord out of the Ganga. With a desire to remain hidden, Mahaprabhu forbade Nityananda and Haridas from disclosing this news to anyone, and personally went to stay in the house of Nandanacharya. According to Mahaprabhu's order, Nityananda and Haridas did not disclose this news to anyone. And remember, this is where Nandanacharya's house is where Nityananda Prabhu went to hide when he first arrived in Navadvīpa. That was his hiding place. Then Advaita Acharya, he also hid in Nandanacharya's house, right? And now Mahaprabhu himself is hiding in Nandanacharya's house. His place is just the hideout for everybody. When the devotees could not find the Lord, they began to cry out of separation. Being afflicted with intense feelings of separation from Mahaprabhu, Advaita Prabhu also remained without any food or water. When Mahaprabhu arrived at the house of Nandanacharya and sat down on the throne of Vishnu, Nandanacharya offered his respectful obeisances to Mahaprabhu and engaged with love in his service. Thereafter, Mahaprabhu told Nandanacharya to keep his arrival a secret. Nandanacharya informs the Lord that even though he lives in the hearts of the living entities as Supersoul and hides himself in the ocean of milk in the form of Kshirodakshai Vishnu, the devotees find him in the innermost regions and reveal him before the before the people of the world. Therefore, how could he keep him concealed? In this way, Nandan glorified the actual truth of Mahaprabhu. Being pleased with Nandan's words, Mahaprabhu spent that night at his house discussing topics of Krishna. The next morning, Mahaprabhu developed a desire to bestow mercy on Śrī Advaita Prabhu. He ordered Nandanacharya to bring Srivas alone. When Nandanacharya, on the order of the Lord, brought Srivas Pandit before the Lord, Srivas immediately began to cry out of love on seeing Mahaprabhu. Everybody's wondering, where's Mahaprabhu? Finally, Srivas saw him, so began to cry out of love. The Lord then solaced Srivas and inquired from Srivas about Advaita. Srivas informed Mahaprabhu about Advaita's distress due to separation and his fasting. He prayed to the Lord to give darshan to Advaita Acharya and the other devotees who were overwhelmed due to separation from the Lord. After hearing the words of Srivas, the most merciful Gaura went to see Advaita Acharya. Finding Advaita in an unconscious state, the Lord considered himself a great offender and began to repeatedly call Advaita. When Advaita Acharya then humbly informed Gaura about his own sinful mentality, pride, and anger, and prayed to remain at the lotus feet of the Lord as a servant, Mahaprabhu describes through a material example how the Supreme Lord always forgives the offenses committed by his servants, and how a person who has been punished by Krishna for his offense is eligible to attain the service of Krishna. After hearing the Lord's solacing words, Advaita Acharya and the other devotees became jubilant. Thereafter, the author concludes the chapter by glorifying the greatness of Krishna's service. Haribol, Haripriya Didi. Okay, so the day before yesterday, we read up to verse 89. I'm just going to read all those translations, and then we only have a little bit left in the chapter. All glories to Mahaprabhu Śrī Gaurasundar. All glories to Nityananda, whose body is the object of everyone's worship. And Haribol Shubhananda Prabhu. Okay. The topics of Madhya-khaṇḍa are like drops of nectar. By hearing these topics, one's atheistic mentality is vanquished. In this way, Lord Vishwambar kept his identity concealed while constantly performing Sankirtan in Navadvīpa. When the Lord wandered throughout the city, everyone who saw him thought he was Cupid himself. In ordinary dealings, the Lord appeared to be full of pride. Even atheists were frightened by seeing the strength of his knowledge. The Lord considered the Bhattacharyas, who were supposed to be learned in grammar, as no better than a blade of grass. In his own ecstasy, the Lord kept his identity covered as he wandered throughout the city in the association of his devotees. The atheist said, "O Nimai Pandit, you will soon receive an order from the king. You secretly perform kirtan at night, and people constantly curse you because they cannot watch. The curses of the people will not prove false, but will soon bear fruit. We are telling you this as well-wishers." Yeah, right. The Lord replied, "So be it. Let your words come true, for I have a desire to meet the king. Since I studied all the scriptures at an early age, people consider me a child and do not challenge me. I do not find anyone to challenge me. I wish to meet anyone who is prepared to challenge me." The atheist said, "The king will listen to your kirtan. Because he is a Muslim, he does not care for scriptural debate." Considering the atheists as no better than a blade of grass, the Lord returned home. The Lord said, "Today I have talked to some atheists. Therefore, let us have kirtan so that my misery will be destroyed." As Mahaprabhu, the Lord of Vaikuntha, danced, all his servants surrounded him and sang. A couple of times the Lord stopped and said, "Oh, brothers, why am I not feeling any ecstasy today? Am I not feeling ecstasy because I talked to some atheists in the city today? If I have insulted you in any way, then please forgive my offenses and save my life." Advaita Prabhu, the great recipient of the Lord's mercy, frowned and danced as he said, How will you feel ecstatic love when nada has drained you? I do not get love of God, and neither does Srivas. You enjoy your pastimes of ecstatic love with oil millers and gardeners. Avadut, Nityananda Prabhu, Avadut has become the servant of your love, while Srivas and I are left out. We are not qualified to attain your love, while this Avadut has come and become the storekeeper of your love. O Goshai, if you do not award me your ecstatic love, I will dry it all up. Then do not blame me. Acharya Gosai was maddened with Lord Chaitanya's love. He did not remember what he said or what he did. Krishna increases the glories of his devotees in all respects. They are able to sell him wherever they want. For one who can sell Krishna by the influence of his devotional service, what is unusual about speaking in this way? Gaurachandra increases the glories of his devotees in various ways. Who can understand his mercy and punishment? As the Lord lamented due to not receiving the happiness of ecstatic love, Advaita joyfully danced while clapping his hands. After listening to Advaita's words, Lord Vishwambar did not make any reply. One second, I'm just gonna fix this. I'm gonna fix the audio. That doesn't matter. Okay, there. I think that's good, right? I'm making the noise suppression less intense. Let me know if this is okay. Okay. Advaita, okay, so Advaita said, so Gaurachandra increases the glories of his devotees. Okay, so who can understand his mercy and punishment? As the Lord lamented due to not receiving the happiness of ecstatic love, Advaita joyfully danced while clapping his hands. After listening to Advaita's words, Lord Vishwambar did not make any reply. The Lord suddenly opens a door and ran out. Nityananda and Haridas ran after him. Thinking that there was no use in keeping a body devoid of love of God, the Lord jumped into the Ganga. As the Lord jumped into the Ganga, Nityananda and Haridas jumped in behind him. Nityananda quickly caught the Lord by his hair, and Haridas grabbed the Lord's lotus feet. The two of them carried the Lord out of the water, whereupon the Lord said, Why did you restrain me? For what purpose should I maintain this life which is devoid of love of God? Why did you two hold me back? The two trembled as they thought, What will happen today? Looking at Nityananda, Gaurachandra spoke. Why did you grab my hair? Nityananda replied, Why did you try to kill yourself? The Lord said, I know you are most restless. Nityananda then said, O Lord, please forgive me. Do you want to give up your body because of someone that you can easily Do you want to give up your body because of someone that you can easily punish? If servants speak something out of pride, does their master take their lives? Filled with devotion, Nityananda shed tears of love for Lord Chaitanya, who is everything for him, his life, wealth, and friend. The Lord said, Listen, Nityananda and Haridas. Do not tell anyone that you have seen me. Tell everyone that you did not see me. You follow this order of mine. Today I will hide here. If you tell anyone, then do not blame me for the consequences. After speaking in this way, the Lord went to the house of Nandanacharya. Following the Lord's order, the two kept this a secret. Absorbed in love for Krishna, the devotees all became full of distress when they were unable to receive any news about the Lord. They began to cry due to feelings of intense separation. No one said anything as their hearts burned. Everyone felt like they had been struck by a thunderbolt, and Advaita, the Lord of Shantipur, thought himself a great offender. Feeling that he had committed an offense, Advaita Prabhu went home and fasted due to intense separation from the Lord. Filled with lamentation, everyone returned to their homes with the treasure of Gauranga's lotus feet bound in their hearts. The Lord arrived at Nandanacharya's house, where he sat down on the throne of Lord Vishnu. Hari Bol, Rup Manjari Didi. Okay, great. Great, Hari, for your thanks. Okay, so the Lord arrived at Nandanacharya's house, where he sat on the throne of Vishnu. Seeing that the most auspicious personality has arrived in his house, Nandanacharya offered obeisances by falling flat on the ground. He quickly brought new clothes for Śrī Sachinandan, who then changed his wet clothes. Nandanacharya offered arghya and fragrant oils, as well as sandalwood paste and flower garland prasad. He decorated the Lord's body with the sandalwood paste. He then brought camphor and betel nuts and offered them to the Lord, who happily ate his devotees' offerings. The Lord forgot all his distress by the service of the pious Nandanacharya, who sat there offering betel nuts. The Lord said, "O Nandan, listen to me. Today you should hide me here." Nandan replied, "O Lord, this is very difficult. Where can you hide within this world? You could not hide in the hearts of the living entities. The devotees exposed you even from there. How can one who could not hide in the ocean of milk hide in an open society?" After hearing the words of Nandanacharya, the Lord smiled. He passed that night in Nandan's house. The fortunate Nandanacharya spent the entire night discussing the unlimited topics of Krishna with the Lord. As they relished the topics of Krishna, the entire night passed like a moment. Then the Lord saw that dawn had broken. The Lord punished Advaita in this way, but ultimately he felt great compassion for him. Looking at Nandanacharya, the Lord instructed him, "Go and bring Shrivas alone." Haribo, Devangna and Champak Didi, Hare Krishna. Okay, so go and bring Shrivas Pandit alone. Nandanacharya quickly went to Shrivas's house and returned to the Lord, with Shrivas. On seeing the Lord, Shrivas Pandit began to cry out of love. The Lord said, "Do not worry." In compassion, the Lord asked him, "Tell me, how is Advaita Acharya doing?" "You are asking for more news?" Shrivas Pandit asked. "Yesterday, Acharya fasted. He is surviving only because he is destined to. Please show yourself to him and save him. If someone else had punished him, would we have tolerated it? O Lord, you alone are our life and soul. Yesterday, in lamentation, we thought that without you, O Lord, why should we maintain our lives? You have given punishment like you said you would. Now please come and show your mercy." After hearing Shrivas's words, the most merciful Lord went to see Advaita Acharya. When the Lord came and found Advaita Acharya was practically unconscious, he considered himself a great offender. After previously receiving the Lord's mercy, Advaita would wander about like he was intoxicated with pride. But after being punished by the Lord, his body trembled. On seeing his condition, the merciful Lord said, "O Acharya, get up and see. It is I, Vishvambar." Well, it's now happy. Now everybody's gonna be reunited. Haribol Suri Didi. Advaita was ashamed to say anything. In ecstatic love, he meditated on the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord again said, "Get up, Acharya. Do not worry. Get up and perform your duties." Advaita said, "O Lord, you inspired me to act the way I did. You inspired me to act the way I did. Whatever you are saying to me now is all an external show. You always treat me in such a way that I become proud. and as a result, I suffer. O Lord, you have awarded everyone else the topmost mood of service, but you show me reverence. You yourself inspire me, and then you punish me. You speak one thing and think another. You are my life, my wealth, body, and mind, yet still you give me misery. This is your opulence. O Lord, please give me the mood of service and keep me at your feet as the son of your maidservant. On hearing the words of Advaita, Śrī Gaurasundar spoke to him in front of all the Vaishnavas. Okay, so that's where we read up to yesterday, and 7:30 perfect timing to start our reading now. And as I mentioned before, we don't have that much left. It is short. Yeah. Shuno shuno acharya tomar tattva koi vyavahar drishtanta dekho tumi e. Listen, O Acharya, I am telling you the truth. Just consider this example that I am narrating. Rajapatra Rajasthane chalaye jakhon dwari praharira sab kore nivedan mahapatra jadi ko chariya Rajasthane jivya loy dile rahe goshtir jivane je mahapatra sthane kore nivedan Raja agya hoile kate she sab jan. When a royal administrator goes before the king, the guards place a request before him. And when the royal administrator meets the king and conveys the guards' requests, he collects their wages and then distributes them to the guards, who along with their families survive on that. If such a royal administrator, before whom the guards place their request, makes an offense, then by the order of the king, those same guards do not hesitate to execute him. Okay, Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. The word jivya? I don't remember seeing that word. Oh yeah, it is, jivya. Okay, jivya, Lord. The word jivya refers to the ingredients that are necessary for maintaining one's livelihood, one's sustenance. The phrase, provisions, right? The phrase goshtir jivane means to maintain one's dependent family members. When a chief administrator goes to see the king, the guards request him to collect their wages for them. After this, the administrator conveys the guards' request before the king and collects the wages for their maintenance from the king. And then he distributes them among the guards, who maintain their family members with those wages. If such an influential person commits any offense to the king, then by the order of the king, those same guards do not hesitate to take his life. So it seems like the person who's giving the things is in a superior position, but by giving the guards their wages, but those very same guards will be the ones who executes him if on the order of the king. Sab raja bhar dei jay mahapatre re aparade sabhyahate tare shasti kore. On one hand, the royal administrator is entrusted with the responsibility of ruling the kingdom. On the other hand, he is killed for his offense. Gaudiya Bhashya. On one hand, he rewards for one's competence, and on the other hand, he chastises for one's incompetence. Both occupations are present in his character. E mate Krishna Maharaja Rajeshwar Karta Harta Brahma Shiva Jahar Kinkar. In the same way, Krishna is the King of Kings, while Brahma and Shiva, the creator and annihilator, are his servants. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3:14-29, it is stated, Ramadayo yatkrita setupala yatkaranam vishram idam chamaya agya kori yasya pishachacharya aho vibhumnash charitam vidambanam. Demigods like Brahma also follow the religious rites observed by him. He is the controller of the material energy, which causes the creation of the material world. He is great, and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imitation. In his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 5.10.11, Madhva Acharya has stated, Swami tvam tu harer eva mukyam anyatra bhrityata. Lord Sri Hari is the supreme controller, and all others are his servants. What is it? Ekala Ishvara Kṛṣṇa Arasabhritya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.54, it is stated, Aham bhavo daksha bhrigu pradhana prajesha bhuteshu sureshu mukhya sarve vayam yan niyamam prapanna murdhnyarpitam loka hitam vahama. Such personalities as me and Lord Shiva, as well as Daksha, Bhrigu, and similar great saints of which they are the head, and also the rulers of the living entities, the rulers of human society, and the rulers of the demigods. All of us surrender to that supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, bowing our heads to carry out his orders for the benefit of all living entities. In his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.6, Madhvacharya quotes the following Vedic statement, Sahi sarvadipati sarvapala sa isha sa vishnupati vishvasyatmeshvara. That Lord Vishnu is the master of everyone, including Brahma and Shiva. He is the maintainer of everyone. He is the controller of everyone. He is the protector of everyone. He is worshipable to everyone, and he is the director of everyone. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 5.142, it is stated, Ekale Ishvar Krishna Arasabhritya. Lord Krishna alone is the supreme controller, and all others are his servants. In his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.247, Madhvacharya has stated, Tadvasha itare sarve Shri Brahmesha Purusara. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and all demigods, including Brahma and Shankar, are his subordinate servants. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 2.5.15, it is stated, Sava ayam atma sarvesham bhutanam adipati sarvesham bhutanam raja. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Master and Lord of all living beings. In the Mandukya Upanishad, it is stated, Esha Sarveshvara, Esha Sarvagya, Eshantaryam, Yesha Yoni, Sarvasya Prabhavapyayo Hibhutanam. He is the Lord of all. He is omniscient. He is the supersoul of all. He is the origin of all universes, and he is the creator and annihilator of all living entities. In the Amrita Bindu Upanishad 4.7, Lord Vasudeva speaks as follows, Sarvanu grahaka tvena tarasmaham vasudevas tarasmaham vasudeva iti. Since I display mercy on everyone, including Brahma, I am known as Vasudeva. In the Maitrayan Upanishad, it is stated, Esha bhutadi patir esha bhutapala shastachuto Vishnur Narayana. He is the master of all living entities, and he is the maintainer of all living entities. Vishnu alone awards punishment, and he is infallible. In the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.9, it is stated, Tatasya kaschit patir asti loke nacheshtita naiva chatasya lingam sakaranam karanadipadipo nachasya kaschij janita nachadipa. No one is his master in this world. No one controls him. He does not have a material body. He is the cause of all causes, and he is the master of all masters of the senses. No one is his father, and no one is his lord. Okay, continuing on. Shrishti adi korite o diachen shakti. Shasti korile o keho. Shasti korilo o keho na kore dvirukti. He gives the power to create. So if he awards punishment, no one can protest. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 2.632, it is stated, Sarjami tan niyuktoham haro harati tadvasha. By his will, I create, and Lord Shiva destroys. In the Vishnu Purana 4.184, Lord Brahma speaks as follows. Yasya prasadad aham achutasya bhuta prajashrishti karontakari krodach rudra stiti hetu bhuto yasmach chamadhe purusha parasmat. By the mercy of that infallible Lord, I create the material universe. Rudra, who appeared from the Lord's anger, annihilates the entire creation, and Vishnu maintains. In the Mahopanishad, it is stated, Sabrahmana Srijati Sarudrena Vilapayati. The Supreme Lord creates progeny through Brahma and annihilates them through Rudra. In the Vaman Puran, it is stated, Matsyadi Rupiposhayati Nrisingho Rudrasangstita Vilapayer Virinchista Srijate Vishnu Avyaya. The inexhaustible Lord Vishnu maintains through his various forms, like Matsya. He annihilates through Nrsimha and Rudra. He annihilates through Nrsimha and Rudra and creates through Brahma. Okay. Mahaprabhu says, Rama Adi Bhavadi O Krishna Danda Pai Prabhu Sevakir Dosh Kshamaye Sadai. Consorts like Lakshmi and personalities like Shiva also receive punishment from Krishna. Yet the Lord always forgives the offenses of his servants. Aparadha deki Krishna jar shasti kore janme janme dasashe bolilo tomare. If Krishna punishes one for his offense, then I tell you that he is a servant of Krishna, birth after birth. Uthiya koro ho snan, koro aradhana, nahi ko tomar chinta koro ho bhojana. Get up, take bath, and perform your worship. Then take your meal without anxiety. So if we get punished by Krishna, that is our good fortune. It means that we're Krishna's servant. Prabhur vachana shuni Advaita ulas, daser shuni adanda hoilo boro has. On hearing the Lord's words, Advaita became joyful. Realizing that he was punished as a servant, he laughed. Ekhone she bolinat tor thakurali nachen Advaita range dia karatali. Advaita exclaimed, now I can say you are my Lord. Then he danced in ecstasy. Hey, skip the part. It says dia karatali. It means he also clapped. That's missing in the translation. So he danced in ecstasy and clapped his hands. Prabhur ashvas shuni anande vival pasarilo purva jato viraha shakal. When Advaita Acharya heard the Lord's words of assurance, he was overwhelmed in ecstasy and forgot the previous distress he had felt due to separation. Shakal Vaishnava hoila parama ananda, takhone hasen hari dasa nityananda. All the Vaishnavas felt great ecstasy, and Haridas and Nityananda then began to laugh. Esha Paramananda Lila Katarase Keho Vanchita Hoilo Daiva Doshe. Due to misfortune, some people are deprived of relishing the topics of these most ecstatic pastimes of the Lord. Chaitanya Prema Patra Shri Advaita Rai E Sampati Alpaheno Pujaye Mayai. Shri Advaita Prabhu is the recipient of Lord Chaitanya's love. Due to illusion, some people consider such opulence as insignificant. Gaudiya Bhashya. Persons who are under the influence of Maya consider Advaita Prabhu, who is the recipient of Mahaprabhu's love, as a rich person with insignificant wealth. Yeah, people are under the, yeah. Alpa kore namani ho dasa hino nam, alpa bhage das nahi kore bhagavan. Do not think that servant implies insignificance. The Lord does accept one as a servant if he is less. I think it's missing the word not. The Lord does not accept one as a servant if he is less fortunate. Oops. Gaudiya Bhashya. Ignorant materialistic Mayavadis think that to become Prabhu or master, ignorant materialistic Mayavadis, they think that to become Prabhu or master in this world is most desirable because a servant has to suffer like an obedient dog. Therefore, a master is always comparatively more respectable than a servant, according to the Mayavadis. Those who have no intelligence to discriminate between the characteristics of Vaikuntha and the characteristics of the material world are certainly unfortunate and devoid of piety. Those unfortunate people who consider the ordinary demigods as equal to the devotees of the Lord, the deity form of Vishnu as equal to a piece of stone that is trodden under the feet of cows and asses, the spiritual master as a mortal being, the holy names and mantras of Vishnu as ordinary words, the devotees of Vishnu as belonging to a particular mundane community, the water that has washed the feet of Vishnu or the Vaishnavas as ordinary water, and the Vaishnavas as belonging to a particular status in accordance with their non-devotional qualities, in other words, those who categorize the devotees of Vishnu according to their varnashram status, their age, their beauty, or their wealth. All those people are bound by the 8 material ropes and oppressed by the 6 types of material miseries. This is that verse, Archi Vishnu Shiladir, Gurushu Narat Matir, Vaishnava Jati Bhudir, Vishnu Vaishnava, that verse. It's a translation of that pretty much. Yasyava Naraki Saha. The consideration that objects of material enjoyment are equal to the remnants of the Lord takes one to say the consideration that objects of material enjoyment are equal to the remnants of the Lord takes one to hell. Such classes of people try to equate the service of the Lord with the service of material objects. Since such impersonal conceptions of such unfortunate persons prevent them from realizing that the service of the Lord is eternal, full of knowledge and uninterrupted ecstasy, and that the service of the Supreme Lord is a propensity of all spirit souls, it's the chitta vritti of all spirit souls, they are all deprived of spiritual enjoyment. And since they are intoxicated by material enjoyment and unable to see the distinctions between the Lord and his devotees, they imagine that everything is impersonal. Unfortunate fruitive workers are covered and thrown by the material conceptions created by Maya. Only living entities who are endowed with piety worship the Supreme Lord. Not realizing that service to the Satchid Ananda Lord is the eternal propensity of the eternal spirit souls, who are spiritual particles of the spiritual whole, miscreants who are induced by 3 kinds of false ego waste their human form of life. Products of matter are situated on inferior and superior levels in this material world. Therefore, if one object becomes master and engages another object in his service, such distinctions cause the living entities inconvenience. O foolish, quarrelsome followers of the various branches of the Vedas! Rather than remaining in your own branch, glorifying your own qualities and describing the faults of others, thereby falling from the platform of the absolute truth by imagining that all bodies are independent of Vishnu and by considering that Vishnu is a product of matter, rather than doing that, take shelter of the Ekayan branch of the Vedas. The Ekayan branch of the Vedas has removed the misfortune of the followers of various Vedic branches. O less fortunate persons, do not forget your service to the Supreme Lord due to material knowledge. Longing for the service of Vishnu will result in longing for the service of Vishnu will result in auspiciousness for you. Unfortunate people commit offenses by finding faults in others. Since by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, the Lord's servants do not have any faults, they engage in the Lord's unalloyed devotional service based on the Ekayan path. The Supreme Lord, who is a reservoir of all transcendental qualities, is fully spiritual. Therefore, do not consider that this spiritual truth is subject to being covered and thrown by the material energy, by the illusory energy, or that it is affected by material faults and qualities. The omniscient embodiment of spiritual ecstasy and unlimited of ends, the ocean of unlimited transcendental qualities and auspiciousness, Shama Sundar is a devotee's object of worship and most dear Lord. The endeavor to become dear to that most dear object is called dasya, or servitude. The inauspiciousness that people who take intoxicants invite due to proudly identifying themselves as the enjoyers of material objects is diametrically opposite to the mood of service to the worshipable object. What to speak of this? The topics of servitude culminating in impersonalism described by Śrī Caitanya, the spiritual master of Apyaya Dikshita, are abominable and cannot be applicable to the devotees of Vishnu. The topics of servitude and the philosophy of Shaiva Vishishtadvaita, which imitates impersonalism, that are found among those who are devoted to Vishnu, that are found among those who are not devoted to Vishnu, are simply indications of their misfortune. Impersonalistic conceptions can never devour those who have received the qualification to engage in the Lord's service. Age hoy mukti tabe sarva bandha nash, tabe she hoite pare Shri Krishna das. First one attains liberation, then his material bondage is destroyed. Then he can become the servant of Lord Krishna. Gaudiya Bhashya. Until one is freed from the clutches of material knowledge, he cannot understand the Vidvad Rudhi of sound vibrations, the true enlightened understanding of the meaning of words, of sound vibrations. In such a situation, one is unable to render service. The devotees who are servants of the Supreme Lord become liberated only when they retire from the sense of lording it over material enjoyment. After becoming liberated, the Shanta Bhaktas develop an intense desire to attain the platform of dasya. Those who are servants of matter think that the liberated soul's service attitude is restricted within the abomination of the material world. They then become completely bound by the ropes of temporary desires. The eternal propensity of the pure spirit soul, who is completely freed from all designations that are covetable according to material considerations, is service to the Supreme Lord. In this regard, one should discuss the Kṛṣṇa-karṇamrita verse, Bhaktais-tvai sthiratara, and it gives the full verse here. The full verse is, I'm not going to read the Sanskrit because it's not quoted. The whole verse isn't quoted by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but the meaning is, if I am engaged in devotional service unto you, my dear Lord, then very easily can I perceive your presence everywhere. And as far as liberation is concerned, I think that liberation stands at my door with folded hands, waiting to serve me. And all material conveniences of dharma, of and artha and kama stand with her. That's from the Kṛṣṇa-karnamrita. Okay. E vyakhya kore bhashya karer samaje mukta shab lila tattva kohi Krishna bhaje. Commentators on the scriptures explain that liberated souls worship Krishna, who enjoys transcendental pastimes. Gaudiya Bhashya. Sarvagya Vishnu Swamipad, who propounded the philosophy of Śrī-Advaita, has said, Mukta api lilaya vigraham kritva bhagavatam bhajante. Abandoning all mundane thoughts, such as Mayavad, eternally liberated persons eternally worship the Lord, who is the embodiment of eternal pastimes. But later on, following Shankaracharya's impersonal philosophy, the followers of Shaiva Vishishtadvaita, such as Śrī Caitanya and his disciple Apyaya Dikshita, imagined that the ultimate goal of transient devotional service was impersonalism. Not being satisfied with such impersonalism, those who engage in unalloyed worship of Krishna become freed from the concepts of both Shaiva Vishishtadvaita and the incomplete mood of Vishishtadvaita, which is the goal of the Śrī-Advaita philosophy, and they engage in the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adhokshaj Krishna, in Parakiya Bhav, paramour love of the conjugal mellow, the topmost of the five rasas. The word Bhashyakar refers to Sri Ramanuja, who followed in the footsteps of Bodhayan and wrote the commentary Sri Bhasya based on the philosophy of Vishishtadvaita. In his writings, he has mentioned topics of various philosophies, such as Bodhayan, Tanka, Dravida, Bopadev, Kapardi, and Bharati. In his writings, he also pointed out the differences of opinions in personalities like Atreya Rishi, Ashmaratya, Orulomi, Kṛṣṇa-jini, Kasha-kṛṣṇa, Jaimini, and Badri. Shankaracharya and the followers of his impersonal philosophy have produced various doctrines. The four different commentaries written by Vaishnavas of the four authorized sampradayas, which are under the shelter of devotional service, have never condoned the philosophy of impersonalism. Since the commentary of the Lingayat Sampradaya, which follows the philosophy of Buddhism, and the commentaries of the Shankara Sampradaya, since they deny the eternality of worship, it is indicated that in their opinion, the liberated state is impersonal and inactive. The descriptions of servitude found in the commentary of Śrī Caitanya have ultimately awarded impersonalism to the topmost platform. Non-liberated persons have no qualification to realize the pastimes of the Lord because they are intoxicated by mundane conceptions. Those who consider Advaita Prabhu an impersonalist can never attain devotional service. In order to point out the discrepancies in the philosophy of Kevala Advaita, Śrī Advaita Prabhu created a doubt about the goal of life, placed it before Śrī Gaurasundar, and distributed the Lord's conclusion to the entire world. The conclusions imagined by foolish people who remained entangled with the first three of the five limbs of Nyaya are constructed on material foundations. Not remaining entangled in such material conceptions, the commentators who engage in the eternal worship of the Lord have described the eternal variegatedness of the liberated souls through the descending process. The non-liberated materialists cannot do so. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 24.130, it is stated, Bhakte jivan mukta guna kṛṣṇa hoya Krishna bhaje. Those who are liberated by devotional service become more and more attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna. Thus, they engage in his service. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.54, it is stated, Brahmabhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mar bhaktim labate param. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. kṛṣṇa-sevā kṛṣṇa shakti dhore, aparādhi hoile o kṛṣṇa shasti kore. The servants of Krishna have the power of Krishna. If they commit any offense, Krishna punishes them. Gaudiya Bhashya. Those who have become liberated from the variegatedness of temporary objects that are not related to Krishna and have attained knowledge of and association with Krishna can never fall from the devotional service of Krishna for even a moment. The omnipotent Krishna protects his servants in all respects. Krishna is the only director of punishment and mercy. He punishes those materialists whose hearts are inclined to offense. By receiving the punishment of the Lord, the living entities become free from offenses. Heno Krishna Bhakta Name Kono Shishyagan, Alpa Heno Jnana Dvandva Kore Anukhan. Some neophytes consider such devotees of Krishna as insignificant. They consider the devotees of Krishna as insignificant and constantly quarrel with them. Gaudiya Bhashya. Those foolish so-called devotees who pick quarrels among themselves due to their narrow-mindedness are offenders at the feet of the Vaishnavas, and as a result, they achieve unlimited misery. If someone without understanding of the Vaishnav's activities and symptoms takes the side of one Vaishnav and criticizes another, then he does not see the Vaishnavas, but only their external state. Wow, that's a good quote. I'm going to save that one. He doesn't actually see them. He doesn't understand them. If we say, oh, like we saw differences of opinions between Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and our Param Gurudev. So if one person says, oh, Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj was right and Srila Bhakti-Vigan Keshav Goswami Maharaj was wrong, then actually that person has never even had darshan. They have never even been able to see Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj or Srila Bhakti-Vigan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Okay. That was just like one example, but there's like many examples. Let me just save the reference. Okay. Sorry. Sheshab duskriti ati jani ho nishchoy jati sarva vaishnaver pakha nahi loy. Know for certain that they are all most sinful. Therefore, they do not actually support any Vaishnav. Sarva Prabhu Gaura Chandra ite dvidhajar tar bhakti shuddha nahe shei durachar. Anyone who has even the slightest doubt that Gaura Chandra is the Lord of all, that person is sinful and his devotion is not pure. Gaudiya Bhashya. Śrī Gaurasundar is the only true reconciler of the contradictions that are found in the philosophies of the various commentators of the Vedanta Sutra. Gaurasundar is also the master of reconciling all worldly disagreements. The misbehavior of those who engage in scrutinizing Śrī Nityananda and Advaita without knowing Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata alone is the Lord of all. That person can never be called pure. That misbehavior can never be called pure devotional service. The ideologies preached by the followers of the 13 current Upasampradayas by either taking advantage of or acting against Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata are all sinful and are respectable to mental speculators. Unless one possesses unalloyed devotion for Śrī Gaurasundar, he becomes sinful due to the absence of pure devotional service. Okay. Gardaba Shrigala Tulya Shishya Gana Loya Keho bole, Ami Raghunatha Bhava Giya. Some instruct their ass and fox-like disciples. Go and meditate on me as Ramachandra. Gaudiya Bhashya. The philosophy of impersonalism, which is accepted at heart by those in the Ramanandi Jamayat Sampradaya, is widely accepted. I wonder what that is. Ramanandi Jamayat Sampradaya. The followers of the philosophy of Shaiva Vishishtadvaita propagate Shivoham, I am Shiva. The followers of the Ramanandi Jamayat Sampradaya temporarily worship Lord Ramachandra. Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata's worship of Shiva is similar. Therefore, not remaining confined in the consideration of simply Shivoham, persons like Apaya Dikshita have preached the philosophy of impotent Brahma, Kliva Brahma. Such perverted mentality arises from their acceptance of sinful instructions. In order to act like gurus, persons who are envious of bona fide gurus and Vaishnavas accept some fools and rogues as disciples and extends their authority over them. As a result, these 13 apasampradayas have brought about their own ruination on the pretext of worshipping Gaura. Since their disciples have rejected the process of perfecting the human form of life and accepted the mentality of animals, they have presented their gurus as Ramachandra. Shrishti Stiti Pralaya Korite Shakti Jar Chaitanya Dasatva Boy Bodo Nahi Ar. There can be nothing superior to becoming the servant of Lord Chaitanya, who has the power to create, maintain, and annihilate. Gaudiya Bhashya. Living entities have no position more relishable than the service of Śrī Caitanya-dev, who is the only authority for creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the cosmic manifestation. All other positions are temporary, full of ignorance, and distressful. Ananta Brahmanda Dhore Prabhu Balaram Shei Prabhu Dasya Kore Keba Hoy Anam. Lord Balaram supports unlimited universes. Yet he is the servant of the Lord. And what to speak of ordinary persons? Gaudiya Bhashya. Śrī Baladev Prabhu, the sole controller of innumerable universes, does not accept any activity as substantial other than the service of Lord Krishna. Jai Jai Haladar Nityananda Rai Chaitanya Kirtana Sphure Jahar Kripai. All glories to Lord Nityananda Haladar, by whose mercy the glories of Lord Chaitanya manifests. Tahar prasade hoy Chaitanya te rati, jata kichu boli shab tahar shakati. By his mercy, one develops attachment for Lord Chaitanya. Whatever I speak is due to his mercy. Amar Prabhur Prabhu Shri Gaura Sundar E Boro Bharasa Chitte Dhori Nirantar. Shri Gaura Sundar is the life of my Lord. I constantly keep this conviction in my heart. Shri Caitanya Nityananda Chanda Pahujan Vrindavana Dasatachu Padaju Gegan. Accepting Śrī Caitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Thus ends the English translation of the Gaudiya Bhashya commentary on Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata, Madhya-khaṇḍa, chapter 17, entitled The Lord's Wandering Throughout Navadvīpa and Descriptions of the Devotees' Glories. All right, Jai Shri Advaita Acharya ki Jai, Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai, Shri Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai, Shriman Nityananda Balaram ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Shri Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. All right, so tomorrow we will be reading, what is it? Mahaprabhu's dancing as a gopi. That'll be interesting. Mahaprabhu's dancing as a gopi. Let's see, I'm just going to read this short summary. It says, this chapter describes how Mahaprabhu expressed a desire to enact the pastimes of Raj. The Lord's order to Sadashiv and Buddhimanta Khan to arrange the necessary costumes. The Lord's assigning who will dress as whom. The Lord's declaration regarding who is qualified to see the dance. Advaita Prabhu and Srivas Pandit's expression of their disqualification for seeing the dance. The Lord's awarding everyone the qualification to see the dance. The Lord and the devotees' arrival at the house of Chandrasekhar for enacting the dance. Some Vaishnavas dressing in costumes. The Lord's dancing in the dress of the Supreme Goddess, Adya Shakti. The purpose behind his dressing as a Supreme Goddess. Gadadhar's dancing in the dress of Rama. The devotees' offering of prayers. Everyone's crying in separation at the end of the night. And the Lord's breastfeeding all the devotees in the mood of a mother. And the effulgence pervading the house of Chandrasekhar for 7 days. Very interesting chapter. All right, so yeah, we'll read that. It's 13,000 words, so it'll take us a couple days to get through it. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Kishore Prabhu, could you do Jaidwani?
Jai Nitai.
Jai Nitai.
Jai Sabrikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Dhanarvika Girishari Radha Vinar Vihari Radhanainath Radharaman Vihari Radhamarva Shri Shri Mahaprabhu Radha Mukunda Ji Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ji Ki Jai Jai Natyalela Pravishtam Vishnu Parapanamaham Sabriya Rachakshari Varisto Trishta Shishaman Bhakti Vigan Bharati Goswami Guru Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishtam Vishnu Parapanamaham Sabriya Rachakshari Varisto Trishta Shishaman Bhakti Pranta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Hari Pavan Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishtam Vishnupad Shishim Ashtotrishta Shishman Bhakti Balab Tirtha Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtotrishta Shishman Bhakti Viran Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtotrishta Shishman Bhakti Viran Trivikram Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishtam Vishnupad Shala Bhakti Sarup Dhamdar Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishtam Vishnupad Shala Gauragan Swami Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Shala Bhakti Vai Bhavpuri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Shala Bhakti Pramar Puri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Shala Bhakti Hridoi Ban Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Shala Bhakti Rakshak Shridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Stotrishta Shishiman Bhakti Viranta Swami Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Stotrishta Shishiman Bhakti Dai Madhav Goswami Param Guru Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Stotrishta Shishiman Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Param Gurudev Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Stotrishta Shishiman Jagar Guru Shivar Shavana Vidoitadas Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Mahapanam Bhagavat Paravar Paramhamsa Stotrishta Shishiman Gaur Kishore Das Babji Maharaj Ki Jai Natyalela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Saptam Goswami Stotrishta Shishiman Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahashai Ki Jai नित्यालेल प्रविष्टौ विष्णुपाद वैष्णव सर्वभौम अष्टोत्तरश्त शिशुमार जगन्नाथ बाबूजी महाराज की जय। सूर्य कुंदवासी सिद्ध शिल मरुसुंदस बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री उर्वदास उदरनदास की जय। जय गौरवीरान आचार्य शिशुमार बलिदेव विभूषण प्रभु की जय। जय महामहोपध्याय रसिक शिरोमणि शिल विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर पार की जय। शिल रसिकानंद मुरारी प्रभु की जय। शिल रामचंद्र कविराज की जय। श्री लोचन दास ठाकुर की जय। शिल नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभुत्राय की जय। शिल कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। यशवतार अर्कावि शिल वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्री अष्टकविराज वसुरजानव नित्यानंद तुरस गोपाल श्री चौषधि महंत जगाय मधाय की जय। जय श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ सर्गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामदार रय रमानंद लोकनाथ गर्भ आदि गौर परिषाद वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य शील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री शिल ईश्वर पुरी गोस्वामी पार की जय। श्री शिल माधवेंद्र पुरी गोस्वामी पार की जय। श्री अंडरदीप मायपुर समनदीप गौतमदीप मध्यदीप कुलदीप ऋतुदीप जानुदीप मातृ द्रुमादीप रुद्रदीप मात्मक श्री नावदीप धाम की जय। श्री एक चक्र धाम की जय। श्री शांतिपुर धाम की जय। श्री गौरचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री श्री गौर गदाधर की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्णा गोपीनाथ गोपी कपाग गिर गोवर्धन वृषभवना माँ श्री ब्रज मंडल धाम की जय। जय श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गंग सखी यमुना सखी तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय। जय वृषभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधारानी ठाकुरानी की जय। जय श्री ललिता विशाख चित्र चंपकलत तुंग विद्या इंदुलेख रंग देवी सुदेवी आदि शक्ति वृंद की जय। जय श्री अनंग प्रेम जलाल शेरूपल मंग राग विलस गुणरति कस्तूरी कमला नयन मणि अरे मंजारी वृंद की जय। जय श्रीमती वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भागवती पूर्णमासी कुमार देवी की जय। जय श्री गोपीश्वर श्री शिव महादेव की जय। जय राधा पदन की तदाम श्री वृंदावन की जय। जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र नीलमाधव जीव की जय। श्री तत्व की जय। जय श्री अलरनाथ की जय। जय श्री नील प्रभुपाद आविर्भाव स्थल की जय। जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर समाधि मंदिर की जय। जय श्री जगन्नाथपुरी पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र मंडल नीलाचल धाम की जय। जय सर्व विघ्नविनाशन करे भक्त विघ्नविनाश शेन्द्र सिंह देव की जय। जय भक्तराज भक्त प्रवर श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। जय श्री प्रहलाद लक्ष्मीन्द्र सिंह देव की जय। जय श्री हरिदाम श्री संप्रदाय चर्याचार्य की जय। जय श्री मध्वार मनोज विष्णु स्वामी चर्याचार्य की जय। जय कर्मतरा श्री चैतन्य मार्ग की जय। श्री गौरीमार वृंद की जय। जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमाद भगवताम भगवद गीता चैतन्य चरितामृत चैतन्य भागवत जैव धर्म आदि सर्व गौरी वैष्णव ग्रंथ वृंद की जय। जय त्रिभुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय। जय त्रिभुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन धर्म की जय। जय त्रिभुवन मंगल धन्य कलयुग तरक ब्रह्म श्री हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम नाम हरे हरे महामंत्र की जय। जय श्री अनंतपुरी वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जय श्री समकट गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय परम ब्रह्मन परमा सत्यम परमेश्वर पति पावन प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम स्वयं भगवान जगन्नाथ मिश्र नंदन गौर सुंदर गराधर प्राणनाथ श्री विश्वम्बर मिश्र निमाय पंडित श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य चंद्र महाप्रभु की जय। जय परमा दयाल परमा करुणामय पतित पावन अखंड गुरु अदि गुरु प्रभु श्री नित्यानंद राम अनंत देव लक्ष्मण हलदार बलराम धौजी महाराज की जय। परमा करुणामय श्री श्रीमान नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। जय महाविष्णु अवतार श्री शिव अवतार भक्त अवतार कमलक्ष शांतिपुर नायक सिद्ध प्राणनाथ शिष्यमार अद्वैताचार्य चंद्र गोस्वामी गौर आन ठाकुर नरदेव प्रभुमाशाय की जय। जय श्री चैतन्य भगवान की जय। जय शिल वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। जय शिल प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर की जय। जय शिल प्रभुपाद गौर वश्य की जय। जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रेययै केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। वंशाकल्पतरुश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय राधे।
Hari Bol, everybody. Dandavat pranams. Dandavat pranams. Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Champak Didi, Shubhananda Prabhu, um, Devangana, and Kishore Krishna Prabhu. And let's see who is on YouTube and Facebook. Raseshwari Mataji, Ganga Mataji, Shachi Prabhu, Janardhan Prabhu, Hari Priya Didi, Rup Manjari Didi, and Sudevi Didi, and everybody else. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for the dancing of, I think Mahaprabhu will dance in the mood of Rukmini Devi, and Radha Pandit will dance in the mood of Rama, Lakshmi Devi, and all those topics. So that will be a very interesting one. All right. Does anybody have anything they want to mention before we end the stream?
Could you update the Madhya-khaṇḍa playlist?
Oh yes, I'll do
Please.
that. Yes. I'll do that. I'll do that right now. All right. Hari Bol, Vangsiwala Prabhu. Hari Bol. All right. So then see you all tomorrow. Hari Bol. Yeah, and if anybody wants, if you go to Vine of Devotion, no, not Vine of Devotion, Madhu Card, Madhu, if you go youtube.com/@Madhu Das, then that's my channel, and you can see a whole playlist of all the chapters that we've read in Madhya-khaṇḍa, of Adi and Madhya-khaṇḍa. I give like a summary of each reading in the title. If you wanna, yeah, I'm gonna update that right now. All right, Hari Bol, everybody.